Before we get into today's show, let me tell you about the latest deal from Mike Lindell, MyPillow. Once again, the big box stores have canceled their orders simply because they don't agree with Mike Lindell's politics. They don't like it because he supports President Trump. Well, he's going to pass that savings on to you. No more middleman. And boy, does he have some great deals on the Giza Dream sheets and the Percal bed sheets. Listen to this. Giza Dream queen size, normally $139.98. Your wholesale price, $69.99 when you use promo code Joey. King size, only $79.99. The Percal queen size, normally $89.98. Your wholesale price, $29.98 when you use promo code Joey. Just call 1-800-893-4059 or go to MyPillow.com. Always use promo code Joey. Free shipping options available. This allotment's not going to last very long. When they're gone, they're gone. MyPillow.com. Promo code Joey. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. Welcome in, and today I am continuing my Patriot Alaska cruise with my buddy Mike Gallagher, Larry Elder, and several hundred enthusiastic radio listeners. Wish you were here, maybe next year. Today's port of call, Icy Strait Point. It's the gateway to the Tlingit village of Hoonah and one of the most unique stops on our Patriots Alaska cruise. Picture this. A restored cannery perched on pylons, wooden boardwalks hugging the shoreline, and humpback spouting just off the Point Adolphus across the strait. There are no highways tying this place either. You fly in, you ferry in, or you sail in, or you come in on a cruise ship like I'm doing, and it feels like the edge of the map in the best possible way. Icy Strait Point grew up around the Hoonah Packing Company cannery, opened in 1912. Decades later, Alaska Native shareholders of Hoonah Totem Corporation saved and restored it, turning the old cannery into a museum, shops, and a cruise destination that funds local jobs while honoring the Tlingit heritage. This is Tlingit country. Hoonah is Alaska's largest Tlingit community. You'll see clan designs carved in the cedar. You'll hear drums at the Native Heritage Theater, and you'll meet carvers and dancers keeping their traditions alive. The people are wonderful. They're friendly, and they, of course, love to see a big cruise ship coming in because the shop owners, that means money to them. This is big, wild country. There are brown bears around. The Chickasaw Island has one of the highest densities in North America of bears. Bald eagles, you see them everywhere. They're riding the thermal. Sea otters bobbing in the kelp beds, and whales, lots of whales. We've seen a lot of whales. Did I say whales? Point Adolphus is one of the premier humpback feeding grounds anywhere. If you feel brave, the ZipRider here is among the longest, steepest zip lines in the world, over a mile long with 1,300-foot vertical drop and top speeds that'll put butterflies in your stomach. If you prefer the boots on the ground, we'll head up to Spassky River Valley on a bear search or kayak the quiet coves around the shoreline. Some of the fun facts, again, no road in or out. Access is by ship, ferry, plane. The cannery dates to 1912. Today it's a working museum and boardwalk. Point Adolphus across the strait, peak humpback viewing, and the ZipRider stretches roughly a mile. Icy Strait Point is owned by Alaskan natives, Hoonah Totem, and designed to keep crowds manageable and benefits local. Hoonah is a tight-knit town, roughly about 1,000 year-round residents. Summer brings those long days expected in Alaska. Seasonal work. Winter brings quiet, dark skies, and that signature Alaskan self-reliance. Standing here, this cedar boardwalk underfoot, snow-streaked peaks above. You can see the snow at the top of the mountains. I'm reminded that America's strength comes from communities, again, willing to build, to endure, and to believe in our country. From the Tlingit fishermen and cannery hands a century ago to families here today, that grit and faith echo all the way back to our neighborhoods back home. And speaking of lines and legacies, let's bring it back to South Carolina. There's a growing talk in Columbia about mid-decade redistricting, just like Texas has done and like Governor Gavin Newsom in California is threatening to do in response to the Republicans. This idea of revisiting the map of our 7 congressional districts, including whether the lines around Representative James Clyburn's long-held seat should change. What's possible under our state law? Well, according to the federal guardrails, think about the Voting Rights Act and the recent court rulings, which really just outdated the Voting Rights Act. So what's the timeline? What's the criteria? What about public input, and what would the process look like, and how it might shift representation around the state to eliminate the only Democrat congressional seat that we have? Up next, Representative John McCravy joins us to break down how a redraw could work, what hurdles it could face, and what it could mean for South Carolina voters. Representative John McCravy's up next. America is in a health crisis, and by America, not just strangers across the country. It's personal. Me, you, friends, and family. And a major cause? Excess weight. Joey Hudson here. The solution isn't expensive shots like Ozempic. It's learning how to eat and think about food differently, and that's what PhD Weight Loss does. Their clients lose up to a third of their body weight, no drugs, just real food, behavioral coaching, and proven science to turn your body into a fat-burning machine. Sure, you could spend up to $20,000 a year on injections that burn muscle, not fat, and come with risks like pancreatitis or bowel blockages, only to gain it all back. PhD helps your body naturally produce weight loss hormones like GLP-1s. No shortcuts, just results that last. Already on Ozempic? Dr. Ashley Lucas and her team will help you safely transition off and keep losing weight. Let's make America healthy again. Call 864-644-1900. That's 864-644-1900, or visit myphdweightloss.com. It's been an interesting few weeks with the Democrat members of the Texas legislature. I should say the Democrat members of the Texas House of Representatives fleeing the state to Illinois to avoid voting on a redistricting plan that will likely give the GOP 5 more seats. This story has some other states thinking about doing the same thing, including some legislators in South Carolina. On our guest line today to give us an idea of what could take place in the Palmetto State, Representative John McCravy. Welcome, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great, Joey. It's always good to talk to you.
I appreciate your time today. So before we get into the what-ifs of possibly redrawing South Carolina's congressional districts, give us a quick overview of the process of redistricting and why this might be possible now.
Well, traditionally, we've always done redistricting in the modern times every 10 years when we have a new census. South Carolina was under the yoke of the federal government in this with the Voting Rights Act that was passed in the 60s. And as a result, South Carolina was actually discriminated against along with 12 other southern states. And we had to get pre-clearance. So the federal government had to clear our plans for redistricting every 10 years. And they would go into it, and we usually would get sued, which happens all the time with redistricting.
Yeah.
But there would be a lawsuit. The federal court would say, okay, this is fine. Okay, you need to redraw your lines, and they would constantly make us redraw our lines. We were under the yoke of the federal government. In 2013, a big thing happened, and that is the Supreme Court ruled that we were no longer under the Voting Rights Act because there was no reason for it anymore. And so we don't have to get pre-clearance anymore. We don't have to be subject to those type of things. And we now can draw our districts. We're pretty much free from all this Voting Rights Act stuff, except for one section, and that has to do with racial discrimination. So certainly we can't draw lines that racially discriminate intentionally.
Yeah.
And we've never done that anyway. And so, but the court did rule that we can now draw our lines, and they're not going to look at the politics of it. So it used to be they would say, well, if you discriminated against Democrats, then this is something we need to look at. Well, no more. So now we're free to draw our lines the way we want to. I don't think in 2020 we really had that realization yet because the case had just been decided. And so I think it's this is an interesting proposal, and I think it's something we should be looking at.
Yeah.
And so to help Trump, we've got a narrow majority. One vote can make a big difference right now in Congress. So I think it's something we should be looking at.
Well, and that's what, and with me today, Representative John McCravy, that's what Congressman Ralph Norman, who's also running for governor, pointed out. When this idea came up, Representative Norman said he thinks that South Carolina should consider redrawing our map. Here's a quote from the state. He said, I have no doubt Republicans can be successful in every part of our state. That will help increase Republican control of Congress and help President Donald Trump pass his agenda. Every vote counts towards a conservative speaker, Mike Johnson, rather than a liberal speaker, Hakeem Jeffries of New York City. And this is what Congressman Ralph Norman is saying is, hey, we need to take advantage of this. Your response to that?
Well, I agree 100%. And so here's the thing. If you go look at District 6, that thing looks like a dachshund with two hats. You know, it doesn't even look like a salamander. It's worse than that.
Yeah.
It goes all the way from north of Columbia all the way down to the tip of Georgia.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's 150 miles in two different directions, and it's all scattered. There's holes in it. There's all kind of mess. And it was drawn for the purpose of making sure we had a Democratic district, because under the former law, if we drew out and there was no Democrat elected, there would be all this claims of political discrimination and all that, which is now gone by the wayside.
Yeah.
So I think we need to look at it again, especially with the federal district. We need to look at this thing again and do away with it. All the rest of the districts, if you look at them geographically, they make a little bit of sense. This one makes no sense at all. So we should redraw it fairly. The citizens of South Carolina should be able to vote fairly for whoever they want to represent them in District 6. We have a super majority in our House. We have a super majority in the state Senate. We can pass whatever we want to pass. And I think if you're a good Republican, you need to be for this redistricting. Help out the Republican Party, help out Donald Trump, and get the votes that we need to get.
Yeah.
To help America.
Yeah. You know, Representative McCravy, and if you look at the map and you look at District 6, as you pointed out, it looks nothing like any of the other districts. And I think it's fair to say, if we had done that to establish or to create a Republican district, the Democrats would be standing on their head, wouldn't they?
They would. And it makes no sense whatsoever, except in the light of old Supreme Court decisions.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in the light of when it was started back in 2019, when we started the process, 2001, you know, we still didn't realize that we were not under the thumb of this Voting Rights Act, especially that part of it that where you could argue that it was political discrimination.
Right.
You know, so that's gone. We need to look at it again, and I think it's important. I credit the Trump team for bringing this up.
I do too.
Talking about it.
I mean,
hey, you know, look at this.
Honestly, had anyone talked about this before they brought this up? I mean, I didn't even think about it because I'm just thinking, well, we just did this, a couple of years ago. Had there been any discussion at all?
None at all.
Yeah.
It's until we started seeing other states do it, we started thinking, I started thinking, well, why aren't we doing it?
Yeah.
And so I think that's exactly what Mr. Norman is talking about.
Yeah. So one final question. We have about 30 seconds left. In the same state newspaper article that Congressman Norman was quoted in, a couple of legislative leaders, for example, Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Luke Rankin said, it is gubernatorial season. It's not redistricting season. It appears that Representative Davey Hyatt, the House Majority Leader, doesn't have an appetite for doing this either. What's your response to that? I mean, some of the legislative leaders who sort of set the agenda are saying, well, not so fast. But you're saying, not so fast, let's go for it, right?
That's right. And we all have different opinions, from time to time. I disagree with other legislators, and I think there are a lot of legislators who agree that we need to do something immediately. I know Jordan Pace put out something saying they felt like they were going to introduce a bill. And, I would support a bill to do redistricting because of all what we've talked about.
Yeah.
If you're a good Republican, I think you need to be for this. And frankly, I think you'll start hearing a different narrative once the people understand what this is about.
Sure. And
it gets out there in the public. I think Republicans in South Carolina are going to demand their leadership to get to work. Yes, it might be it's going to take some time.
Yeah.
But that's what we're elected for.
Right.
We're supposed to be working.
Yep.
And so that's what I'm in favor of working.
Yep. Representative John McCravy, it's always a pleasure. Appreciate what you do, and we'll check back with you soon.
All right, so thank you.
Your comments are welcome on the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Email's always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Firmin Ford text line, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Firmin Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you can trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Firmin Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Firmin, Matthew Firmin. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Firmin Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Firmin Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Firmin Ford online at firminford.com, firminford.com. That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.